Tonight we honor James Bain, Harlan Heitkamp, Carmen Jordan, Vidal Ramirez, and Henry Wu. Now, please recognize Smith Hudson Endowed Chair of Banking and 2018 Texas Bankers Hall of Fame recipient, Jill Sharp Vaughn.
So I know everyone is eating, and please continue to finish your meal, but we have a strict rule here at as a Bearcat. We start on time and we end on time in respect for your time. So good evening again, and we are going to get started, and we have a full evening planned. So again, as I said earlier, wow, what a great night to celebrate bankers, so appropriately to recognize them for their vast contributions to our industry and their communities. Service at our own university is deeply rooted in our culture, as our own motto is, the measure of a life is its service. Does that sound familiar? It should, because you'll hear tonight how service has impacted all of the recipients and the inductees tonight and played a big pivotal role in their careers. As you witness these inductees, they have been visionaries and trailblazers that have met the call to be deserving of this recognition. Esteemed honorees, again, we welcome each of you and your families and friends to our university. At this time, I would like to welcome our other special guest. If the following guest would please stand when recognized. Dr. Dana Hoyt, who is our President Emeritus, Sam Houston State University. Dr. Jim Gattner, President Emeritus, Sam Houston State University. Dr. Michael Stevenson, Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs. Jeff Harris, Chief Marketing Officer. Dean Shar Self, Dean of the College of Business Administration. Dr. Melinda Miller Holt, Dean for the College of Engineering and Technology. Charlie Vian, our Associate Vice President for Alumni Relations and Annual Giving. Russell Martinez, Associate Vice President for Marketing and Branding. Emily Greenwald, Senior Vice President of Banking, Supervision, and Regulation of the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas. And Emily's also on our Smith Hudson Advisory Banking Board. Chris Furlow, President and Chief Executive Officer of TBA, and his team. Chris is also on our banking board. The IBAT team, Abby and Hurt Nelson and their group, Julie. Dwight Gary, Executive Director of Commercial Banking Program at Texas A&M University. And I failed to say Abby Carnes with IBAT is on our banking board as well. Amanda Good, Senior Manager of Academic Programs for RMA. Amanda. Dr. Jaime Taylor, President for Lamar University and his team from Lamar. Meredith Walker, Executive Director of the Texas Business Hall of Fame. Meredith. Dory Wiley, who is President and CEO of Commerce Street Holdings, an investment banking firm for banks. We have a large number of our Smith Hudson Endowed Chair of Banking Advisory Board members. Will you please stand? Give them a round of applause. And now, would our former executive MBA and banking students, our former banking students, please stand? We have a number of them that are in the audience. We have over 643 full-time placements, and a lot of those are in the audience tonight. Current undergraduate and graduate banking students that are here with you tonight at your tables. We'd like to recognize you. So I already recognized both our Senior Associate Dean and Dean Self, but in addition to them, I want to introduce two of our prior deans, Dr. Mitchell Musam and Dr. Dean Lewis of the College of Business Administration. So I'll have to say, without their support and vision, our program would really not be what it is. Actually, Dean Lewis, Dean, was here when the program was founded. And so we are really appreciative of everything that they've done, and as well as our current dean. We get just incredible support for our program. We'd also like to thank, we have a number of sponsors you'll see on the screen tonight. And we just could not do this without your support financially through the year, with not only our programs, our scholarships, but also, guess what? Our degree that we call a JOB. Everybody recognizes that degree, right? And we want to thank you for all of these opportunities that you present to our students, because we could not do what we do without you. And again, a big SHSU welcome to each of you. I would also like to thank the incredible administration, faculty, and staff at our university that supports our program and our students, focusing not only on student success, but social mobility as we work to prepare students for tomorrow. The work that our faculty and our staff does to mentor and help our students is so important to your banking industry pipeline, and we all know how important that is, right? It goes without saying that banking is not for the faint of heart, right? We're all glad that we're not where we were this time last year. So it is, as we talk in class, there's a lot of economic cycles in our industry, and we tell our students, but guess what? Banks are consistent. They're there hiring and supporting entry-level students regardless of what's going on in the economy. You may start and do a different role, but our banks continue to hire. And without you doing that, again, we could not do what we do. You know, it's real interesting if you look back and think about where you were. Think about where you were if you were a banker in 1996. And that's the year, so we were coming out of the Texas banking crisis, and our founders showed up at Sam Houston State University. Dean could probably help tell this story, with $1 million check to start our program. And they were adamant about having a banking program that would help students get trained and educated to go into a profession and go back into their communities and fill the void that we all know existed during that important time period. And think about the vision that they had back in 1996, because our program was really the first and offers the most tenured program in banking. And think about, without that vision, would we have all of the different programs today? Because today we have so many successful programs around the state at all the different universities. And if they haven't started, they are starting one probably, because of the support our industry gives back and offers the opportunity for students that changes lives. We all can see firsthand the quality of these programs. And again, we want to thank the folks that are represented here tonight, like our good friend Dwight Gary. This validates, it certainly validates the need of this important mission for all of us. And so us working together to prepare those students, and then you offering those opportunities, completes our undergraduate cycle, as well as giving us those internship opportunities for our students. Then our EMBA program, on top of that, is a second part of our mission. The second part of that mission was just not the undergraduate, but also to educate and train bankers. So that really completes our mission. Also, the golf tournament and seminar tomorrow, Dr. Bexley, that was the first thing he decided to do to help train bankers. So you will not find a more dedicated team that works day in and day out for the success of our students than our staff. Dr. Bexley has created an incredible legacy, and it is humbling to fill his shoes. And I'm especially thankful he had the foresight to put this incredible team in place. So Pam Thaler and Jacqueline Cawthon, please stand and let me recognize you for the many years of service and work and dedication. I say this every year. This gala just doesn't just happen. Bankers are fairly high maintenance, I'll have to say. And if it was up to me, you would never sit with your friends and family. You would just be going for the first table you could find. So y'all want to really thank Pam and all of her leadership and support for an organized event. She actually will start her 25th year. She's in her 25 years in this department this August. And it's really a monumental task. And I thank every day Dr. Bexley for having that foresight to hire Pam and Jacqueline. Jacqueline's been here 13 years. But they worked side by side. And if you really think about what Dr. Bexley accomplished, was to start a minor, then a major, an internship program, a job placement service, an EMBA program, a golf tournament and seminar, and then throwing in a gala for 350 of your closest friends. So it's not an easy task, and I have to thank my hat every day, because Dr. Bexley was a very, very close friend and mentor, and never did I dream I would be able to fill his seat. I always said whoever took his seat was an idiot, because who would ever want to fill his shoes? So to date, and we're still counting, we've produced 1,373 interns, 643 bankers. We've provided 767,000 in internal scholarships, and recognized after tonight 52 bankers into the Hall of Fame. Thank you, Pam, Jacqueline, for all of this hard work, because you've played an instrumental part to that. And I would be remiss without thanking Rick Thaler, who's in charge of all the logistics, and then Steve Nenninger, who's our associate professor in our department, for all you do as well. So in that light, thank you. We are also excited to report on something I actually reported on last year. So as I introduced earlier, we have an incredible advisory board, and they throw out ideas and we come back and execute. We have a great mentorship program that we started thanks to them last year, and a number of your bankers and a number of you are actually mentors to our students, both undergraduate and EMBA students. And our board was saying, why don't we have a grassroots fund that enables people to give $10 or $100 or $100 a month or $10,000 or $1 million or $10 million, whatever, but it's really a fund to recognize bankers in our program. And so last year we started the program, and I think I introduced that the first donation was in honor of our inaugural Hall of Fame, one of our inaugural Hall of Fame members, Walter Johnson, for his, believe it or not, 87th birthday at the time. And after 1 year, I have to report, and after Giving Day that we just finished, we'll be over $90,000 in pledges and donations to that grassroots fund, and that is donations from every size you can think of. Many in this room have participated in that. That's our beautiful wall that hangs in our office, so give yourselves a round of applause, and we thank all of you that have contributed generously to that. It's important because our program is totally funded on endowments. Obviously, the largest Smith Hudson endowment is our largest. Our TBA matching grant, which many of you participated in that original $250, and they matched it with $250, that's our second largest, and we hope over time this becomes our third largest endowment. But that is how we're funded, and so thank you, TBA, for that really vision to offer that to our program. That was offered back during Dr. Bexley's tenure. And we just feel like it's a great way to recognize and honor bankers. And so it's just a fun thing that we started, and it's really taken off and has great momentum. There's actually information on your table as well. So at this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Stevenson, again, our Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs for Sam Houston State University, to share his remarks.
She thanked everyone, so let me take the opportunity to thank Jill Sharp Vaughn for the amazing work that she does with all of the students and the bankers and the program. Thank you, Jill, for what you do. On behalf of President Elisa White, I am Mike Stevenson, the Provost and Senior Vice President. Good evening and welcome to Sam Houston State University, home of the state's premier academic banking program. It's an honor to celebrate tonight's 5 iconic inductees who have made unique and significant contributions to the banking industry in the 11th Annual Texas Bankers Hall of Fame. Special thanks to the College of Business Administration, the Smith Hudson Endowed Chair of Banking, and our sponsors for hosting this wonderful event. The Texas Bankers Hall of Fame Gala showcases the legacies of leading bankers in the Lone Star State, and tonight's class of honorees is no exception. Thank you for your service to Texas. Thank you for all that you do. At Sam Houston State University, you know the motto, a measure of life is its service. It's emblazoned everywhere. We can say the measure of a life is its service can say the same about tonight's honorees, who leave lasting legacies for tomorrow's banking industry. I congratulate each one of you, welcome you to Sam Houston State University, and wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you. All right.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stevenson, for your comments. You know, I visit with him quite a bit. He's been so supportive. We came not at the same time. I believe he came a little bit earlier, but I go up the hill and see him quite regularly to bring him up to date with our program, and it always feels like I'm going to the principal's office. On that note, we're going to start with y'all or without you. So I'm so pleased that many students and young bankers are here tonight. to witness the accolades of each one of our honorees and witness how each of these bankers have walked the walk. Take notes, students, at the common theme and all the contributions and the role that education has played. We will now move to the recognition. And again, this is like a working lunch, okay? I know y'all are all still eating, and I want you to enjoy your meal, but I want to make sure that we have time to celebrate these wonderful inductees. It's a long way to Huntsville, and we want to make sure that they have adequate time. So join me in another round of applause as we start these celebrations. So I'm going to call each presenter. It's going to be in alphabetical order. You got that, James Bain? You're first, okay? And I ask that you come to the stage using the stairs to your right, this way, my left, and proceed to the podium, the presenters first, to introduce each honoree. And after this, the honorees, please come to the stage from the same, your right, my left side, and accept your award. So, we are starting with a very dear and longtime friend of mine, James Bain, and he is actually, as I said earlier, on our advisory board. And at this time, I would like to ask Dana Hoyt, President Emeritus from Sam Houston State University, to come back and introduce James Bain.
Well, thanks to Jill for that. It's my honor to introduce the first awardee, James Bain. While my ability to speak to James' banking acumen is limited, I can speak to his personal characteristics that made him a worthy candidate for this award. First, my main banking comments relate to my relationship with the late Jim Bexley and his comments and relationship with James. My first introduction to James was at an athletics state dinner that Jim and James co-sponsored. Jim Bexley introduced James as an excellent community banker in the Huntsville area, very customer-oriented and a well-run bank. Those are high comments from Jim Bexley. I have very much respect for Jim, and so all of those I took as an excellent recommendation. I think Jim would be so proud that James is being inducted into the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame. After that introduction, my interactions with James were in his role as an alumnus of Sam Houston State University. Altogether, his family has 5 of the 6 children hold degrees from Sam Houston State, and his mom, Annie Bain, got a degree when she was about 60. So yes, very excellent, isn't that? I found James very interested in and supportive of the university's directions. He always stood ready to provide funds for banking, athletics, or other initiatives that I might call and ask about. In my experience, there are few people that just take a phone call to either raise funds or have them be ready to help and assist in any way possible. As I got to know James better, I found him to be a man of strong character with an amazing work ethic. His story represents what others hope to emulate. And it's one that touches home to me and my husband both, because we did this as well. Work your way through college. Work diligently at a career you enjoy. Build your own business and help out your community. As an additional note to our original meeting, I have to go back to that first meeting at the state dinner. It's normal for me. I'm a little bit of a red wine person. So I brought a wine to that dinner, a very nice Napa Cabernet. And I didn't realize that at this steak dinner, most of the crowd was a boxed wine and beer crowd. So James stated, he looked around the room, he goes, "I know you brought this wine," because the others would not truly appreciate it. So he then opened the wine, poured me a glass, poured himself a glass, and kind of placed it over to the side to serve us. So I could tell right away that he was a man of good taste and good sense. However, in all seriousness, my friend James Bain's story and commitment to community banking make him an outstanding inductee into the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame. Help me in welcoming James Bain to the stage.
Hi, y'all. So the only thing I've ever been described as iconic just happened a few minutes ago. I would say my voice is iconic. What do y'all think? Yeah, well, I didn't get it easy. So thank you, Dana, for those kind words and the emotion you put into it, and I really appreciate it. They're a joy to be around. So I got a lot of support right before I came up here. My wife said, "Now don't get up there and act like you're reading a financial statement or a call report." And I really didn't take that to grasp until I listened to Jill, how well she did on the speech. I said, "Oh, I guess I better not sound like that." And then my longtime partner, Nancy Harmello, who's worked for me 35 years, said, "Now, you know, I pulled up your old speech. You looked a whole lot younger than you do tonight." So I said, "Well, I appreciate y'all's encouragement." And then my son said, "You know, Dad, you don't have to be a good speaker to be a banker, just good at calculations." I said, "Well, okay, I'll be all right on that." So I want to thank everybody in here for this honor. I'm proud of what I do for a living. I want you to be proud of what you do for a living. I'm proud of whatever it is that managed to get me here. I'm not good with awards. I'm not good with banquets. I support a bunch of it, but I do not like to be out front. It's not something I'm good with. I'm proud of all of you again, and many of you in this room I know personally. You really have better hearts than the world deserves. There's a group here for me tonight. Not a single person turned down an invitation. That's rare. I guarantee you, especially coming to one of these things. So I appreciate y'all doing that. I feel a person rarely achieves success on their own without the help of others. Oh, this evening is so many people. And so my guests here tonight, I want to spend a little time with that. There's such a rich history and such wonderful memories. You know, people, even Scripture goes on to say there's very few people you would give your life for. I have literally a table of three tables that I would give my life for those people. Some of those relationships go back 5 decades, and it's just hard for me to believe that I've been around so long that those relationships are so old, I guess is the best way to say that. So, you know, and then, so the first person you better think when you get up here is your wife. "Baby, where you at?" It's, you know, if you've been by my side through the extremely hard and difficult parts of our life, I don't know how you put up with me. The ego at times on me would have been unbearable. I'm very sorry. You partner with me. You've been my prayer guide. You've helped me come through situations that I never would have looked at it that way, and I would not be up here without you. I love you, darling. I'll love you for the rest of my life. I appreciate you. I want to thank the good Lord for giving me 2 sons, Jamie and Stephen. Stephen flew down from Columbus, Ohio. He took the part of my speech out. I didn't know he had edited it. And so before I came up here, he didn't want anybody to talk about him, but he's a brilliant scientist working on a big project, publicly traded firm. I can't talk to you about it, but he's a PhD from Ohio State. So, and he came to Sam Houston and did summer classes, and I paid like $250,000 for his education. And in a private school, and he said, you know, I think my professors at Sam Houston are better than they are at blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, okay, well, thank you for that. You could have saved me the $200,000. But, Stephen, nobody could ask for a better child. And I thank you for the man you are. And I very much appreciate it. Over here at the, where you at? Well, we're at you at the back table. You're kind of big, so I had to put you somewhere else. So, anyway, I look over and see Wilbur Dickerson. And he was my first-time full employer. I like to exaggerate what age I came to work for him, but I really think it was somewhere between 12 and 13 years old. You know, the good Lord takes away your memories of childhood. I lost my father at 6. My mother was pregnant with her 7th child. We were living in Midway, Texas. Any of you ever been to Midway? There ain't not a whole lot going on in Midway, let me tell you. There's a flare going out there right now, but other than that, that's about it. So anyway, we lived there for about a year, and the only place that would hire my shot-up father was the TDC, and so that's where we went, and that didn't go well, good for us. So my mother came to Huntsville to work at the Gore unit because that was where a woman found a job with that many kids. We lived in George Russell Apartments, if y'all know anything about that, and it was before the age of 12. I have very few memories, and I'll touch on those in a minute. But my life really started with 3 men that are in this room tonight. It started with Wilbur, and it started with Morris Johnson that's over there. Those men, about the age of 12 or 13 years old, interceded in my life and made an impact. And that impact is making an impact in so many other people's lives, both financially, spiritually, ethically. All those traits they gave to me came to me naturally because I got it from them. Morris was my chemistry teacher and my coach. And before that time, nobody knew I existed. I was sleeping in the New Edition or the projects, whatever you want to call it, at night because my mother was working the night shift. So it was just a different world for me than most of you in this room. So I want to thank you, Wilbur, for standing by my side, and Morris for standing by my side. Morris was one of my first director choices. And so for you two individuals, God bless you for the men you are and for stepping into my life at those times, because I would not be here without you. And then I have a lady that I met. She had 2 jobs when I asked her to come to work for me. She already had 2 jobs. Every time I'd come in at midnight, she'd be working there. Or if I'd go to lunch, she'd be waiting on me there at lunch. And her name is Nancy Harmello. She's been with me for over 35 years. You know, nobody really does anything by themselves. Without her help, I would not be here. You've held my hand through so much of my journey, Nancy. I very much thank you for all that. There's no way I could ever repay it. I love you for it. We raised our children together. Our families are very close. She's part of my life and part of my family. So thank you, Nancy. I look at, you deserve that, I promise you. Any award I get should have your name engraved right beside mine, I promise you that. I look at Walter Nelson. Walter can't hear very good, so y'all speak up, because he can hear me because I'm so dang loud. But that may be why he chose me as a partner, but I don't know. So, Walter, you enabled me to be the man I am today because of your generous spirit, trust in me, and solid presence in my life. Thank you for being so instrumental in my life and being such a powerful role model to me. God bless you for the man you are. You know that I would not be here without you, and I thank you for it, Walter. I have, because I didn't know that many of them would come here, I knew I'm a little, how can you not feel unworthy to stand here? Come on, look at the people in the room, my goodness. And Jordan, I don't know if you heard it, but that was a bigger applause than anybody else. I guess maybe we needed more women in that diagram up there. What do you think? Yeah, we're working on it, aren't we? So anyways, congratulations to all the people for the previous awards too. So I need to go back to my employees. The unworthiness comes from, because people really sat down and wrote a letter. I didn't know they did that. And numerous people did that, and I was kind of overwhelmed because when Jill called me and said, "Hey, have you been inducted?" I said, "What?" And I thought you had to turn in a resume or something for that. She said, "We don't want anybody sends in a resume." And I said, "Oh, okay, so, well, all right." But thank you, Gay Clements, Michelle Murray, and Lori Morgan. Nancy and Walter and all the people. So literally 20% of my staff was here at the time. So I'm pleased with that because I've been gone a long time. So, and then I would be neglect if I didn't tell you that I miss my former bank director, my mentor and my friend, Jim Bexley. I know that Byron, that I know the world is different after your dad's died, after your dad's passed away, but I know that every time I saw your dad, he never hesitated to say something wonderful about you. I know he's extremely proud of you today, as everybody in the room was, and I thank you for Jim's commitment. I don't know how we ever talked Jill to take the job, but what a blessing that was. So believe it or not, my banking career started with a bank robbery. Any of you have that happen to you? So I'm serious, a bank robbery. So I was in Austin trying to earn a master's degree, working as a night teller in a 12-lane drive-through with 3 other women bankers. And one night there was a knock at the door. A scruffy-looking fellow when she opened the door, a scruffy-looking fellow, and she screamed out. And so I went over to see, being the only male there, and I said, what do you want? He said, I want your money. And I said, oh, excuse me? Yeah, I want your money. And he's pointing the gun at me. So I kind of had a hard knocks childhood. And one thing it did teach me was the art of survival. I really hardly remember a week that there wasn't a fist fight or name calling fight. You know, if you got that many siblings, something bad's going to happen all the time. So anyway, I didn't think much of it. I'd had a lot of training from fighting. Won a couple Golden Glove titles. And so the poor guy didn't really have a chance. And so the matter was resolved very quickly, the old-fashioned way, and I just told everybody to get back to work. Didn't think of anything about it. Somebody had called 911, and the poor guy was still on the ground when they got there, unconscious. And so I said, well, hell, maybe poor guy, maybe he needed some money or something, and he really didn't stand a chance. I don't know where he's at today. He may be in the cemetery. I guess because I sounded like this, of course I was tall, thinner, better looking, and so the cops kind of embellished it, I guess, because of the 911 call. And the next day, the TV crews called. I said, I don't know about this now. He said, we want to come up here and put you on camera. Well, you see how I'm doing already. So anyway, so they turned the TV on and light goes on, and you're standing there like a goober. And so one thing I could think of to say is, man, this is the greatest organization in the world. So y'all practice this speech, you new people. This is the greatest organization in the world. Everybody here is a genius. This may be the most secure building in the world. I said, this is you got to be lucky to work here. I said, why would any idiot rob this bank? And the thing about it is I meant it, because I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment with 2 grown men and 2 adult children. And so, I was thankful to be working in the air conditioning. It was just a different kind of life. And so the day after the interview, I got about 3 or 4 phone calls from different people in the bank. And I was trying, what the heck's going on? Because nobody told me this was what was going to happen to me. So the bank spent about 18 months moving me around from one position to the next because the right people were watching the video. And so they moved me around, and then I was literally maybe 25 years old. And our owner and CEO, who had built 4 or 5 towers in Austin at the time, he called me up to his office on top of a 16-story building, flags on both sides of it. Remember, I'm kind of from the hills over here, and so it was pretty intimidating. And he goes, James, I got a 3-story building over here on Texas Avenue in front of the university, and said, I need you to gut it and build me a bank in it. I can't imagine telling a 25-year-old that. But I said, Mr. Johnson, what would you like me to do? He said, I just want to put you in charge of the project. Really? And he said, yes, sir. And so I took about 2 steps, and I thought for a minute. I said, what about my employees? He said, well, pick anybody out you want. Well, if you could walk through this room and pick out 10 employees, you'd have a deal, wouldn't you? So that's basically what I did. It became phenomenally successful. And then I thought I had it made, and then the guy showed back up with the CEO of Texas Commerce Bank. We had hired him to be ours, and I was his president. I ended up being his assistant. And I worked along a guy right sitting right there. It looks like my son. I'm a little leery of it right now. But anyway, his name is Stephen Bender. We worked side by side. He was assistant to the vice chairman and chairman. I was assistant to the president. He was a Texas cowboy. And I say all this because if you don't think there's a God, think about it this way. The men that I named off earlier that were instrumental in my life, Walter Nelson wasn't the first person to get a Coors distributorship in Huntsville or in the state. Bob Lilly was. Walter was the second. So think about how credible a person you have to be to do that when Coors came to the state of Texas. Morris Johnson, that I named earlier, that was my chemistry teacher and coach. That man has more schools named after him than any Mr. Smith or anybody like you could ever come up with. And he's in more complexes for people to live in than anybody I know of. And Wilbur, he sent more people to West Point, a Naval Academy, including his own grandchildren, than any governor I've ever known. So whatever he does it good. So I learned a few things, and I'm going to try to finish pretty fast. But when you're running a community bank, you're serving your heart. If you're not a servant, you need to get out of it. If you don't have that personality, you should get out of it, because it's what it's about. This is not going to happen to most of us, and I'm very fortunate that it did. By being a servant, you're at the disposal of your customers, their businesses, and your community. And they depend on you. It becomes personal, and it should be personal. And many times, just listening to the customer stories help them and me arrive at a solution. So being served is not best. Serving is best. And for y'all that are striving for the brass rings and money and all that, I'm going to give it to you. Money is not winning. Make sure you understand it. Money is not winning. Money will create more problems for you. You know what to do. So, and then the second thing I want to put out is that love is an action. Whatever happened to love your neighbor, love your God, whatever happened to those things? I thought they were 1 and 2. What happened to that? What did we do as a civil society? What happened to, love should prompt you to act, motivate you to speak up on somebody's behalf. If it doesn't do that, well then check on out, because we don't have time for you. So, a pastor friend of mine, I don't know if he was a full-time pastor then, but I met him in Sunday school class. His wife was dying of cancer. In 2000, and then 10 years later, maybe 12 years later, my wife and I hired him as a speaker when he became real famous, and at a heart association bank that my wife was in charge of. But in 2010, we won Community Banker of the Year. The bank did. And I didn't even know the award existed. No offense to you, I bet. It was a great deal. Big, huge auditorium like that. And out behind the curtain, the guest speaker was my friend from that Sunday school class. And my friend's name was Rick Rigsby. I don't know if you know him. But Rick tells a story about to hell with an impression. Let's make an impact. And he did it like this. He said, strive to make an impact and not just an impression. So, when you're looking at life, if you get up every day, try to make an impact. In conclusion, let me leave you with this. These are my words. The only opportunity scale in life, if you come up with a scale, like an opportunity scale, like I was born a 4 or a 5 or 6, based on your parents and your money and housing and this. The truth of the matter is I was born a 0. And if I can stand here, then anybody can stand here. So, I don't want to cry poverty to anybody. But like I said earlier, there was a bunch of us. My father died when I was real little. Nobody had a job. My brother had to go pick out my dad's funeral arrangements. My sister had to pick out his what he was going to be buried in. It was a very difficult time. But besides that, I didn't know there was white meat on the chicken before I was about 13 years old, because all the siblings ate them up. Friday nights, if we made it through the week without getting in trouble, the whole bunch of us, we got 4 ounces of Coca-Cola and a couple of Oreos. So that was a big thing. And then when I went over to one of my friends' house one night, they had shag carpeting. If y'all remember shag carpeting? Man, I was used to sleeping on the floor, and I thought that's the most comfortable stuff I've ever laid on in my life. And so the truth of it is, it was. That really was the best thing for me. So nobody could have predicted it, certainly not me. Nobody could have planned on it. I climbed that scale. But there's a lot of talent in this room, a lot of ability. Like I said, how could you not feel unworthy of being here? But I want to challenge you now, really challenge you. You know, take your skills and your mentoring ability and start pouring it into somebody. Be a Morris Johnson, Wilbur Dickerson, Geraldine Dickerson. Be a Walter Nelson. Be these partners of mine over here like Casey Collar. Be my accountants. It's JRBT. Is that right, Stephen? I say that right? Okay, I got it right there. I mean, they drove in from Waco. I mean, I like y'all and everything, but Waco's a long way. And so, you know, the truth is you got to start being an anchor for somebody besides yourself. If you're doing it for the money and for yourself, you're doing it for the wrong reason. If you're doing it for the money and the power for yourself, you need to go ahead and shoot yourself. But, I mean, there's no joy in that whatsoever. So try to change the trajectory of a life, of a child. I stand before you tonight that say that it's very possible for every one of you. It doesn't matter what age it starts out. So get involved, make an impact.
Another round of applause for James Bain. So at this time, I'd like to call Scott Heidkamp, Chairman and CEO of Value Bank Texas, and his son Andrew. And he has a great story to tell about his late father. And it's really interesting when we talk to students about the education and preparing. Scott will probably talk about it a little bit, but his dad was actually, Mr. Harlan Heidkamp, was from the engineering side before he got into banking. So as we honor the late Harlan Heidkamp, again, welcome Scott Heidkamp and Andrew.
Well, good evening. Wow, this is a great place. Jill, Pam, thank y'all so much for honoring Dad tonight. Well, I'm Scott Heidkamp, like Pam said, the son of Harlan. Dad would have been so honored by this recognition of the Texas Banker Hall of Fame. He wasn't a man that brought much attention to himself, but he had been so proud of this honor. I'd first like to recognize those that made this honor possible for Dad. Thank you to Kurt Nelson, Christopher Wilson, and the IBAT team. I know Dad would have felt very humbled and honored about receiving this award, so thank you. I'd also like to recognize one of Dad's good friends, Mr. McNeff. He wrote such a great letter recommending Dad for this honor. He was so proud to be Mac's friend. Also tonight is my wife, Carrie, is here with us tonight, and my mom, Jerry Heidkamp. Andrew Heidkamp, my son, with his new fiancée, Maddie, and Seth Watts, who works at the bank with us tonight. Thank you for being here tonight. My dad didn't start out as a community banker. He was a civil engineer that owned an engineering company and was asked by a local community bank to sit on a bank board. This is where it all started. In early 1984, he and a small group of investors decided to purchase those very banks that he set on the board. Right after that purchase, I got a call from my dad asking if I would come back home and help him with his new endeavor. This is where our relationship changed from a father-son to a business partner. It wasn't always easy, but it was one of the most rewarding choices I ever made. You see, my dad became my best friend. Dad never met a stranger. He was bigger than life and had a smile that would light up the room. He was a gentle giant whose bark was often bigger than his bite. Together, he and I weathered a lot of storms, worked through challenges and celebrated achievements together. Our relationship was built on mutual respect. I believe Dad had built all of his relationships this way. He had integrity, and that simple principle guided him through his life. Harlan left behind a legacy that embraced the values of community banking. He was a hard worker, passionate, and dedicated, trustworthy, and loyal. He believed that nothing is more important than his family, friends, and building lasting relationships. He had a heart of gold. Many of us have been shaped by this legacy Harlan left, and the legacy is still moving forward and being shaped by the next generation. He would have been so proud and honored to be part of this celebration tonight. One of Dad's greatest joys was being called Opa, grandfather in German. I know that he would love knowing that my son, his grandson, Andrew Heitkamp, is following along in this great journey we call community banking. I'm proud to introduce Andrew, my son. He currently works at the bank that we started a long time ago, and I've asked him to come up and say a few words. So, Andrew.
Well, like my grandfather called my dad to come work for, I got that same call. He says how rewarding it is. I've yet to see that full reward, so we'll see how that plays out in future speeches. But it is my honor to stand up here with my father and discuss OPA. Growing up, I never fully understood the impact my grandfather had on not only our community, but anyone he came into contact with. The main reason being he was never one to talk about his accomplishments. My first step of following in his shoes was attending Texas Tech University, where both my father and he had attended. And it wasn't at my time at Tech when I started to realize who my grandfather truly was and the legacy he had left behind. He was a farmer turned student athlete and further into an entrepreneur, a model of the American dream. After my time at Texas Tech, my knowledge of him grew further. I took my second step of following my grandfather by beginning my banking career at TIB, where he had served as chairman on the board. Harlan held this position 30 years prior to me joining the TIB team, but employees would still come up to me and ask me, how's he doing? And 30 years later, employees still asking. It was incredible to see. They would remind me that he was one of their favorite people to ever hold that position. A fun story I like to tell, while he was serving as the TIB chairman, Gail Earls was the CEO. His grandson, Caleb, and I are still friends to this day. And while I was working at TIB, I got a call from Caleb asking who to reach out to try to get a job there. So I shot Michael O'Rourke an email, and a couple weeks later, Caleb and I were working at TIB together like our grandfathers had 30 years prior. So it was a really cool come-together story. The impact my grandfather has had on my life is evident through not only my career path, but through my passions in life. I loved watching sports with him, whether it be the Texas Tech, the Astros, or the Spurs. Even in his final years, talking sports with him is something I will hold fondly for the rest of my life. I wish he was still here today to enjoy going to the Astros games, something my father and I get to enjoy together. I guess I can say enjoy lightly nowadays. We've had a rough start to this season. But Valley Bank is not just a community bank to me, but a way to honor my grandfather. He poured his entire being into serving the community around him, a legacy my father has continued, and something I hold with extreme importance to continue throughout my life. There is not an event that I go by without seeing fond faces, relationships that began with my grandfather years ago and continue to this day. Thank you for honoring the man he was and the legacy I can only hope to grow every day. He is smiling down on all of us right now. God bless. Thank you.
What an incredible story. So our next inductee, Ms. Carmen Jordan, is a friend of mine for many, many years, and we're so pleased to have her with us tonight to be inducted. And so, Robbie Martin, I want to call you to the podium, and you're going to introduce Ms. Carmen Jordan.
Thank you all. I remember Jill Vaughn at Amegy Bank of Texas when I was a credit analyst doing her spreads from the pool. Dave Stevens is here today. He actually hired me out of college. So a couple months ago, I was telling my mom, Carmen Jordan got inducted into the Texas Banking Hall of Fame. And she's like, oh, wow, that's such an honor. And I go, yeah, and I'm gonna actually have to introduce her. And she's like, her first comment was, well, I love Carmen, I love Jim Likes, I love Bennett Douglas, I love all your work family. I was like, that's what it is. It's really a work family for me. Then she asked, well, what are you going to say? I go, Mom, my only experience is at a rehearsal dinner, and the only place I've had a stage and a microphone. And the last time I did that, a lot of people laughed, and the father of the groom was crying. So I'm not really sure where this is going to go. I do kind of a script I'm going to try to stick with, but also try to be pretty concise. I think we've all read her bio. You know what she's kind of been, where she's from. Born in Nederland, went to Lamar University. A month ago was inducted into the Lamar University Business Hall of Fame, which is pretty incredible. It's going to be a heck of a start to your year, Carmen. Kind of got into banking, the old-fashioned way, like through retail. I don't even know anything about a retail bank. I barely know where ours are. But it's obviously the most organic way to start a career in banking. Quickly, she figured out a way to get into the commercial side, and that's where she kind of hit her stride. You can know numbers, you can know people, you can know all the C's of credit, you can know all these different things, but really what differentiates you is how you perform, what you do with them. So Carmen is one of those people. She's very ambitious. She outworked everybody. She was more prepared than everybody else. She was always consistent, and I've seen that for the last 20 years. She's very principled with how she approaches credit, how you underwrite it, how you deploy it, and really more principled with how you select who you're going to do business with. Her communication skills are great. Whether you're talking about something good, you're talking about something bad, you always kind of know where you're going and how you're going to get there. She knows how to put herself in someone else's shoes, not tell them what they want to hear, but really be supportive and give them, clear direction and clear guidance. People want to work with her. There's a group of about 20 of us that have worked with her my entire career, and we've worked at several different places together, and we've always followed her everywhere she goes for all those reasons I said above. Early in her career, and as a C&I lender, you're pretty much a generalist, but Carmen was tapped on the shoulders to start a specialized group and founded the Corporate Energy Services Group at Amegy. And anybody in this room that's been a banker knows that the most risky kind of lending you probably do is commercial real estate and energy, well, specifically energy services. So Carmen started that group from scratch for the most part, built it up to over $1 billion portfolio, and the most impressive part about it is they didn't have any credit losses. When that was over a long period of time, multiple cycles, whether it was oil prices, supply with equipment, et cetera. It's unheard of, I think, in our career. I'm sure if you talk to a bank regulator, they'll tell you that's never happened either. One morning I showed up to Amegy Bank and I was told Carmen Jordan and Preston Moore, Preston sitting here today, were leaving Amegy to go work for a bank called Encore Bank. And I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. What are they going to do? Well, Preston's going to be the CEO and Carmen's going to be the chief banking officer. So literally I acted kind of dumb and then walked down the hall and gave Carmen a call and said, hey, what are you doing? Can I come join you? And I didn't know anything about Encore Bank or what they were doing, but they were the last bank to go public before the great financial crisis. They were about $1.5 billion in assets, based in Houston, but had Houston and Florida. And what I didn't understand at the time is that Carmen and Preston were going in there to kind of shift the bank strategically. I got over there and just focused on Houston loans with Bennett Douglas and Jim Likes, and that's all I knew. Behind the scenes, they were not only leading what we were doing on that side, but also selling off the Florida branch, repositioning the bank to be a Houston C&I bank. At the time, I didn't know this, but they told me this is going to be a 5 to 7 year deal in their minds, and that's what they were thinking. Well, classic Carmen, they did it in about 28 months, and all of us had to go find another job after that happened. So they ended up turning that bank, not turning around, but repositioning it, sold it for two and a half times to another regional bank who wanted a foothold in Houston, and they thought Encore Bank was the best branch or best franchise to buy. So moving forward there, our next chapter, we joined a group, another regional bank. We did a kind of a management lift out or a team lift out. Carmen was our team leader, obviously, and joined people we knew from Amegy. It was a regional bank that wanted to be in Houston. They de novoed it. We got over there, they're about $400 million loan portfolio. 6 short years later, under Carmen's leadership, it was almost $1.6 billion, almost 4 times growth, in the most profitable region in the bank's history, or in the bank's footprint. That bank later decided they wanted to grow by acquisitions, took it off to the southeast, started buying banks, probably bought 30 banks over a period of 5 years. And, we kind of decided, well, we know some people just down the road at Origin Bank, and they've got a pretty good story, and we know all of them. So following Carmen, our entire team left, went to Origin Bank, joined Preston Moore, who is the Houston president. The bank itself was doing great, but our team merged in good with theirs, and 6 years later, on the same time frame, loan portfolio is up 4 times, deposit portfolio up 2 times, and it's been a great family to be a part of. So I'm pretty fortunate getting to work with these people my entire career. Carmen's one of those people that inspires beyond anything, and her receiving this award, I think, is very, very appropriate for her, what she's given me, and all that. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Carmen Jordan.
Thank you, Robbie. That was very nice of you. I was not going to lie, I was a little nervous about what you were going to say. When I asked Robbie to make my introduction, his first question was, okay, what's off limits? It's like, well, when you've known someone as long as Robbie and I have known each other, there's probably more than one embarrassing or humiliating story that he could have shared, so thank you for not going there. I guess plus when you sign someone's paycheck, they're kind of forced to say a few nice things about you. First of all, thank you to the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame. This is a wonderful event, and congratulations to my fellow honorees here tonight, all so well-deserved. I'm honored to be accepted into such a distinguished group, which includes the inaugural year's recipient, Walter Johnson, and past recipient, my friend Jill Vaughn. Walter was a true legend in banking, and I learned a great deal from him, and Jill's just done such a wonderful job with the banking program here at Sam Houston State. I'd also like to thank my colleagues, friends, and clients who supported me during the nomination process, and I would like to extend my special gratitude to the president of Lamar University, Dr. Jaime Taylor, Juan Zabala, and all of my friends who made the trip here tonight from Lamar University. Thank you. In addition to my family that's here tonight, I'm also joined by many of my incredible colleagues, some of whom I have worked with for 20 and 30 years. I know Robbie doesn't look old enough for me to have worked with him for 20 years, but I can assure you he is. I don't have the 5-decade experience that James mentioned, but I'm working on it. Banking has certainly had its share of ups and downs, but when you work with a really talented group of colleagues and clients that you can truly rely on, you can get through just about anything. Lamar University prepared me for the accounting, finance, and analytical skills that I would need in my career in banking. But really, nothing prepared me for what I now realize has been a career in crisis management. I started my first banking job in February of 1991, and it was a terrible time. Houston had been in a major recession. Jill mentioned that earlier. It was a recession from oil and gas, followed by a real estate crisis, and most Texas banks had failed at that time. But for me, it ended up being a good time to learn. I learned what not to do. I got to learn from other bankers' mistakes and mistakes that the banks had made, and I benefited from that, and there was no shortage of workout credits at that time. But just when we thought things were getting better, oil prices dropped to $10 a barrel in 1997, and I was already starting to build a pretty big book of energy service credits, as Robbie mentioned. And that was followed by the Y2K potential crisis. Y'all remember that, when we thought the whole world was going to explode on the stroke of midnight and all of our computers were going to shut down, our customers were just going to, go into darkness or something? I mean, we spent a whole year preparing for Y2K. And then next came the tech bubble 2 years later, and then the housing and financial crisis of 2008. That lasted about a decade, and we were just recovering from that just in time for the next energy downturn in 2015. Oil prices were pretty low, and then, of course, the worldwide pandemic in 2020. Oil prices actually went negative for a slight period of time. And then we had the unexpected bank failures of last year. So if I've learned anything, it's always to expect the unexpected and be ready at any moment. And who do you want to be in the trenches with you? My team. That's who I want. We've managed through all these crises over decades with almost zero losses for 30 years. To manage through these cycles, you sometimes have to be a little tough. One time when my older daughter, Kelsey, was young, we were discussing careers, and she said, "I could never do what you and Dad do." And for those of you who don't know, I was previously married to the longtime Houston banker, the late Mark Dunmeyer. I said, "Well, Kelsey, why couldn't you be a banker? You know, you're hardworking, you're smart." And I knew I had failed when she said, "Because that's a man's job." Can you imagine my shock? My own daughter said that. I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute." I said, "Well, how do you think that I've been able to do it?" And she said, "Well, because you're kind of like a man." It's like, so I'm still not sure to this day if that was meant to be, a compliment or, a huge insult. I'm still not sure, but, considering what she's now done with her career, I think she's figured it out. It may not be a man's world. Anyway, I am proud to see the rising number of successful women in banking, and I'm very grateful to those who paved the way for me. I'm also proud of our banking industry in general and that we focus so heavily on supporting our communities through volunteer efforts. I love working for an organization like Origin Bank who goes well beyond government-mandated CRA contributions. We have a true culture of giving back to our communities, and we have a very high number of volunteer hours. I know of no other industry or for-profit industry that supports the community to this magnitude. And I can't think of any other career that would have been as fulfilling for me personally as banking. I thrive on competition, relationships, analytics, and community service. And banking has provided all of this for me. It's like a blend of everything that I care about, and I could not be more grateful for the opportunities that I've been given. So thank you again for this incredible honor and your presence here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen, and again, what a great story. So our next inductee is Mr. Vidal Ramirez, an almost 60-year banker, right? That is really, really incredible. And so at this time, I'd like to ask our good friend and again, we recognized him earlier for being an earlier inductee into the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame, Mr. George Martinez with Stellar Bank. You're going to introduce. Yes.
It's my honor to introduce my good friend Vidal Ramirez, who started his banking career in 1965. Not only did we not have computers then, we didn't have to pay interest on deposits either. Vidal and I worked together for 21 years. First at Sterling Bank, when Sterling Bank acquired Community Bank in Katy, and Vidal ran that bank before the acquisition and after the acquisition. And later at Allegiance Bank, where Vidal joined the bank when it was in formation, brought a number of shareholders, and he was ultimately responsible as vice chairman for the Katy area and the West I-10 area. And the bank is currently known as Stellar Bank. Vidal started his career in Brownsville, moved to Houston 2 years later, and he worked for Texas Commerce Bank. As a Hispanic commercial banker in Houston, Vidal was a true pioneer. He was a trailblazer. He subsequently provided leadership and growth for several community banks in Houston. Most of those banks were owned primarily by Mr. Vincent Ciccarello. Mr. Ciccarello would have been here tonight, except he was unable to travel. But he wished Vidal the best, has a lot of love for Vidal. At every bank, Vidal was masterful in building loans and deposits with very loyal customers. He was really strong in building relationships. One of the testaments to that is the fact that a lot of his customers are here to celebrate with him tonight. He was also very good and had very loyal employees that stayed with him for many, many years. He was the consummate community banker, concerned about serving others that were his customers, others that were his employees, others in the community as well. He served on many boards of directors of active nonprofit organizations. One such example is Houston Methodist Hospital West, where he served as chairman of the board for over a decade. Just as important is his commitment to his family. He and Magda got married while they were living in Brownsville, and she's been by his side for all of his career, raising 2 children and now enjoying 5 grandchildren. I don't know of anyone that is more entitled to receive this award, having earned this reward as a community banker, than Vidal. Please welcome Vidal to the podium.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much, George. Appreciate that very, very much. George, this would not have been possible without your mentoring support for over 2 decades. I appreciate and love you very, very much. You do that not only, you have done that not only for me, but for many other bankers. Ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply honored and humbled to accept this prestigious award, and I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of those who have supported me throughout my career. It has been an incredible journey, one filled with challenges, triumphs, and most importantly, a profound sense of purpose. I stand before you today as a testament to the power of transformative leadership, strategic foresight, and unwavering commitment to community development. From my humble beginnings as a teller at the National Bank of Commerce in Brownsville to my role as a seasoned banking executive and community leader, every step of this journey has been guided by a steadfast dedication to making a positive impact. I am immensely proud of the partnerships forged and the institutions nurtured and the communities empowered throughout my more than 5 decades in the banking industry. Whether it was playing a pivotal role in the transition of United Bank I-10 West to Community Bank, or steering the growth of Allegiance Bank alongside esteemed colleagues, each endeavor has been driven by a shared vision of excellence and service. But beyond the boardrooms and balance sheets, my true passion lies in giving back to the communities that have given me so much. As chairman of the board at Houston Methodist Hospital West, and through my involvement in various initiatives, I have sought to make a meaningful difference in the lives of others, ensuring that the values of compassion, integrity, and excellence remain at the forefront of everything we do. None of this would have been possible without the unwavering support of my loving wife, Magda, and my family, who has been my pillars of strength and inspiration. Their endless encouragement and sacrifice have fueled my determination to always strive for excellence, both personally and professionally. Magda, would you please stand up, and my two kids, Vidal Jr. and Cynthia. In closing, I am reminded of the words of Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. As I stand here today, I am filled with hope and optimism for the future, knowing that together we can continue to build a brighter tomorrow for generations to come. Our bank's future, Stellar Bank, is in the hands of very capable individuals and their teams who have been supportive of my career, very, very supportive of my career. I am very, very fortunate to have some of them present tonight, and I would like to at least introduce Bob Franklin, Steve Retzloff, Ray Vituli, and Carlos Sandoval, the great, great individuals. I am very proud of my Katie family, my three banks that I helped manage throughout several years. Many are here tonight, but last but not least, there has been three ladies that have supported me for over 30 years, and that is Jane Montgomery, who was not able to be here this evening, but her daughter Shannon is here, Tamara Gajewski, who was with me for over 30 years and has made several moves with me and a big support, and my right arm at the bank now, Tina McGregor. Thank you once again for this incredible honor. I am truly grateful and profoundly humbled. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Vidal Ramirez. So our last inductee tonight, Mr. Henry Wu, has just an incredible story. And so at this time, I'd like to call James Wu, his son, to the podium to introduce his father.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to be here tonight. First and foremost, I would like to congratulate all the honorees this evening for their achievements and their induction to the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame. My name is James Wu, and I have the pleasure to introduce our last honoree for this evening, my dad, Henry Wu. You know, I've thought long and hard about what to say about Dad, as I got a front seat view of all of his hard work and his successes in life. There's just too much to cover in this short span of time. But as we are here to honor his success in banking and a lifetime of giving back to our community, tonight I'm going to honor my dad the way I know him. The word that comes to my mind is hero. Dad, you are my hero. You are our family's hero. You are our community's hero. And what makes you a hero is your courage and your will. Your courage to take that leap of faith as a young man to come to a foreign country without any connections and to begin a new journey. You were probably scared and naive at the time, but your strength and your will carried you through your journey to find and build the success that you have today. As a family, it is more than we could have ever imagined and hoped for. But you showed me, you showed all of us what a hero is able to do, accomplish through your willingness to never ever give up and to dream big. But it is not just your accomplishments, that we celebrate. It is also the moments when faced with difficulty that you are able to rise. It is your ability to find a clear path and to find resolve. Dad, you have not only achieved this in your businesses, but also for your family. When I have been down, you have held my hand and picked me up. You have done that for our family, and that is a true mark of a hero. So thank you, Dad. Thank you for always being there for me, Janae, and Mom. Thank you for being the leader that you are. The success of American First National Bank reflects who you are and the compass that you defined. Dad, I love you, and we are all so very proud of you. You deserve all of this and much, much more. And thank you for being our hero. Congratulations. Please come.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Texas Banking Association, to nominate me here tonight. I'm really proud of myself to be here tonight. Thank you. Before I started, I want to say this. I want to thank you very much for University of Mississippi. In 1972, I'm originally from Taiwan, and I graduated in Taiwan, major in chemical engineer from Donghai University in 1970. And then at the time required 1 year military service, so I spent 1 year in the military. And after that, I applied a scholarship. I got a scholarship from University of Mississippi. University of Mississippi offered me $300 a month of scholarship. Without that, I won't be here today. So I really thank you, Ole Miss, that a time you give to me. And second, I'm a chemical engineer, but at the end I went to business. And I'm in the plastic business by reasons from all the chemical companies such as Chevron, Phillips, Dow Chemical, and about 8 suppliers. I've been doing that since 1978. Now this business company name called Hutchison. Now, since I'm in a banking, in 1989 I started banking. And now banking is not small bank now, so I had to spend all my time in the banking. So my Hutchison company, 100% now, my son running now. And my son is doing a lot of better job than his father. You know, he sold the resin last year, 200 million pounds last year. It's very, very big number, and really not easy. So really good job. And because of that business, I start banking with Energy Bank since 1994. And because of plastic business, I want to thank you, Chairman Walter Johnson and President CEO Steve Stevens. Now, without your support, my plastic business won't be here today. Thank you. So, you know, 72, I came to the United States. And 74, I got a master's degree and graduate. I moved to Houston, and I'm lucky I got a job with the Amoco Oil Refinery in Texas City. And the reason I got a job because of my master's degree in Ole Miss is working on the hydrocracking process. And just Amoco Oil just built a new plant with the hydrocracking process. Because of that, I'm really lucky I got a job working as process engineer. At that time, 2,000 employees there, 400,000 barrels a day capacity. And before I was there, only one guy from Taiwan working there. I'm the second one. And he's in the IT area. I'm in the process engineer. So I start with Amoco Oil, 1974. When I start working there, the plant manager, one day he come to me and say, Mr. Wu, you know, Amoco Oil is a big company, headquartered in Chicago. If you want to continue to move up, you need to speak good English. So I recommend you to join the Toastmaster. And I listened to him. I joined the Toastmaster for 2.5 years in Toastmaster. Now, you guys probably know what's the Toastmaster. So my first time in the Toastmaster, you got to go up to the stage and speech, whatever you want to say. You can choose all the subject you want to talk. And then almost about 200 people sit there, listen to you, and then what they call it your English after your speech. So that day, my first time there, I told everybody my speech today is my first impression about America. I told them about a story. I came to the United States, 1972, January 28. At that time, no big airplane. So I from Taiwan, Taipei, fly a small airplane, and go to Japan, fill it up with gas, and go to Hawaii, and fill it up with gas, and then go to Los Angeles. By the time I get to Los Angeles, I already missed my flight. So I have no choice to go to the next flight. And you know, California and Houston are 2 hours different, right? So by the time I get to Memphis, it's midnight. When I came out of the airport, I was scared. I see nobody. I was scared. Because at that time, I don't know what's outside. I don't know. I never see freeway. But in Taiwan, there's no freeway. I don't know outside a hotel, motel, I don't know. So I was scared. And my mother gave me $10 in the pocket, US dollar. In case somebody rob you, you got $10 to give to him. So then I walk, and I said, I look at right-hand side, the stairway go to the basement. So I went down there and go down the basement. Then I see a young guy, a Caucasian guy in age, I think, around 33 range, young guy. And he's tall. I think he's about 6'2", 6'3". And I see a sofa next to his, he's standing there walking there. There's a sofa on the side. So I went there and asked him, sir, can I sit here? And he said, sure. So I sat down there. I was really tired. And after about 3-5 minutes, then he asked me, sir, can I ask your name? What's your name? Oh, my name's Henry. My Henry name came from when I was high school in Taiwan. My English teacher from the United States, and she cannot call anybody, about 50 students, she can call anybody Chinese name. So she gave us a list of all American names. Choose one name. So I look at this, I see Henry. Then I thought about Henry Ford. That's why I choose Henry. So that's my name, Henry come from, okay? That's good now. So I met Henry, and then he said, oh, how about your last name? I say, W-U. Oh. Where you going? So I go to University of Mississippi. At that time, I don't know. It's called Ole Miss. I don't know. I go to University of Mississippi. And then he said, oh, University, you got to take bus. I take about 1.5 hour bus drive to get to Ole Miss, to Mississippi. And now, it's midnight now. The bus station is closed. Open tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. So, that's what he told me. And then he said, Mr. Can I see your passport? Sure, give me my. You look at passport? Yeah, it's me from Taiwan. After that, he said, can I see your I-20? So I show him I-20. Oh, University of Mississippi. Major is what? Science engineer. So he verified this. Yeah, it's me. And go to Ole Miss, Mississippi. Then he said, Mr. I know I can see you're very tired. I'm going to be off work 2 o'clock. So if you don't mind, I can take you, I can take you to my house. And tomorrow morning, I take you, to the bus station. Well, I don't know nothing at all. I said, yes, sir, thank you. And he said, go to sleep. I wake you at 12 o'clock. Then he wake you up at 12 o'clock. Then he and I, we walk to outside. When we get to outside, man, it's snow outside. I never see snow in the city in Taiwan. In Taiwan city, no snow. Only mountain has snow. It's cold. Then he drive a big car. I don't know how to drive yet at the time. I asked him, sir, how much the car cost? He told me, oh, it's a brand new car, $3,000. Oh, $3,000, a lot of money. Then he taking me his house, 2-story house, and he told me, Mr. Wu, my house only has 2 bedrooms. 1 room, me and my wife. 1 room, my mother said. So you don't mind downstairs, has sofa there, you can sleep there. Just sleep. I wake you up at 6 o'clock. Sure. Man, I lay down, boom, gone, sleep. And suddenly, somebody wake you, Mr. Wu, wake up. So, 6 o'clock. I get up. Now, he don't have car garage, so car parked outside, so it's snow. Next day morning we came out, I gotta have to clean the snow for the car. After clean up, he taking me to the bus station. And he buy me a breakfast. And I see the menu, I see the ham. But in Taiwan, ham is very expensive. I cannot afford it. So, look at the menu. Okay, I like 2 eggs over the ham. That's what I have. He buy me breakfast. You know how much it cost then? 50 cents. Only 50 cents. At that time, you know how much gasoline cost? 19 cents a gallon at the time. So after breakfast, I feel good. And then he buy me a bus ticket and send me to the bus station, and see me off. Then I go to Mississippi. You know, I forgot to ask his name. So after 4 months at Ole Miss, I still had no car. But when a classmate had a car, and she wanted to go to Memphis to take care of some business. So I asked her to see, can you take me to Memphis airport? So I went to see him. But when I got there, he's not there. I cannot find him. So till today, I still don't know his name. But the 2 eggs over the ham, since that day, I never forget. Till today, every morning, if I don't eat at home, breakfast, I eat outside, I always 2 eggs over the ham. Till today, for almost 32 years. You know, I'm a golfer. I like play golf. So right now, every Saturday, Sunday, I play golf. I told my wife, it's just sleep, but I got to get up at 6 o'clock. You know, tea time is 8:30, 8:25. So I got to be at the restaurant at 7 o'clock. So I go to the restaurant, IHOP. Every Saturday, Sunday. When I sit down, the waiter said no to all the ham. So to always ham, it's been over 52 years. This is a story I want to tell you guys. I told a story in my speech at the Toastmaster. That's my first impression about America. You know, I'm from Taiwan. I can tell United States people really very nice. The nicest people in the world, United States. Just, I'm telling you guys how actually I feel about it. Okay? So, today I want to tell you all the story here, and I really thank you very much. I'm the founder of American First National Bank. I've been in banking since '89, 35 years. When I applied a charter, when you open a new bank, you got to have a charter, right? Apply a charter. Normally it takes you 2 years to get a charter. Do you know how long it takes me to open this bank, American Bank? 3 months and 10 days. OCC approved it. And also, I sent an application in August 28. I got a charter December 24. Merry Christmas. So I want to let you guys, the OCC controller in Dallas, Mr. John Bardner, he know me very well since '92. I want to tell you the story about this so you know my banking. When I want to be a bank in '89, somebody wrote a letter to OCC, tell OCC I'm mafia. I don't speak English. How can I don't speak English? How can I get my master in chemical engineering from Ole Miss? Come on, make no sense. Because of that, I was denied. Can I be in the banking? So I feel so sad. But since I'm in the process business, a lady, an American lady, she lives in Beaumont. And she always called me by reason for me. So that day she called me. And then she said, well, Mr. Wu, are you okay? Your voice sounds different today. Then I told, something wrong? Then I told her about what happened. Can I be in the banking? They said, I'm mafia. And then he said, she said, no, you're not mafia. You're not. Hold a second. Let me go home. I talked to my husband. They live in Beaumont, Texas. And my husband in the banking for 30 years. Let me talk to him first. Then I call you tomorrow. So the next day, she called me. She said, my husband said, you must appear. If you don't, you never in banking again. And here is 3 lawyers. Her husband gave me 3 lawyers. Choose one and appear. You know what? I look at this. 3 lawyers. I don't know who to choose. Finally, a CEO, Walter and Lee Walter. They are husband and wife. For whatever reason, I choose this one. And then Lee Walter, his wife, represent me. I get a letter from OCC. You know what? I can only have 10 days to appear. And that is the last day, 10 days, last day, 3 o'clock. He said, Mr. Wu, this is your last day. We only got 1 hour. So let's fax to OCC first. And then the letter we send right away. So we appear. And then wait, no answer. Wait for 8 months. Finally, the OCC big boss asked Mr. John Bardner, asked his secretary, call Lee Walter, my lawyer, saying that Mr. Bardner want to see Mr. Wu either next week or next month. Of course, I choose next week. So next week, that day, Friday, September 12th, 1992. Lee Walter, my lawyer, and I, we fly to Dallas from Houston, Southwest Airlines, go there. And then to see Mr. Bardner. The ballroom of the OCC is a big room, big table. Mr. Bardner sat right here. I sat next to him, my lawyer is next to me, 3 people. And Mr. Bardner talked to me, asked me for 2 hours. 2 hours. And then my lawyer, Lee Walter, start talking. And she said, Mr. Bardner, Mr. Wu has been waiting for 8 months. We need your answer. And then Mr. Bardner said, oh, I know. That's a Friday. I let you know now. Monday, Mr. Wu will be the board member of Texas Commercial Bank. I got it. I got it banking now. And then, you know what he say? He say, and Mr. Wu will be the chairman of the board. He named to be a chairman. 1992, September 12, is my really banking started. From the bank, small bank, at the time, only about $30 million total asset. So, I'm a chairman. So it take me 1 year to clean up. At the end of 93, 1 year. 先雕的 remove. Now bank become a what? A good bank now. Then I ask OCC, can I grow business now? OCC say, yes, you can start growing now. That's why the bank start growing. Till 90, after 5 years, from $30 million total asset, I grow to $500 million in 5 years. But 97, I was bring down as a chairman. It's a history. Today I have no time to explain that. I stepped down. I was so sad that it's not right. So then I decided to open another bank. That's what I call a bank for a bank. And the Chinese name, the Chinese English name is Henfeng Yinhang. Henfeng is 2 names. It takes me 3 months to think about what kind of name in Chinese is better. Since I raised the business, I export a lot of resin to Hong Kong. And Hong Kong customer open LC to me. One bank is called Heng Seng Yinhang. One bank is called Fei Feng Yinhang. Heng Feng, that's got it, Heng Feng. That's the name, Chinese name from American Bank. That's how we get it. The bank charter, OCC approved in 3 months, 10 days. We start, OCC say, well, normally you can only open one location one time, but I wanted 2. I wanted Houston and Dallas Richardson. And then OCC say, Mr. Bardner, special approve me 2 locations one time. But the capital minimum, not 3 million, 5 million. So OCC say, is that okay with you? I say, send me no problem. But you know what? After approve, only taking me 3 days to raise capital 15 million. That's how we start American Bank. In 1998, May 18, we started. Today, total asset 26.5 billion, total capital 350 million. Okay? And OCC, because know me so long, all the big boss, Mr. Butler. 2006, he came to see me from Dallas. And with me, I show him around the bank, and then he said, Mr. Wu, can I talk to you a few minutes? Sure. So he and I will go to the ballroom, close the door, and he said, Mr. Wu, I just want to let you know, I had a trust and confidence in you. That's all he said, and bye-bye. And then 2006 year end, he retired. So he come to see me before he retire. That's how OCC know me for 35 years. If I open the branch, it only taking me 2 weeks. You got it. They know me. I always do what I say. The trust, I always told my son and daughter, integrity is most important, and trust is important. If you want your money, you cannot take it. You only take the money belong to you. I always told my daughter, my son that integrity is very important. That's why the way you run American Bank, what integrity most important. The chairman do American Bank. Chairman do is what compliant law regulations. It's our top priority. Second, asset quality is very important because Mr. Butler told me in 1992, asset quality is very important to the bank. A lot of banks fail because of asset quality issue. That's why asset quality is very important. That's why I emphasize how we control asset quality. You guys probably all in the bank here now. We probably only bank. I tell you guys that now. We are probably only bank in the United States. Loan officer, no lending authority, nothing. All along, doesn't matter $2,000 loan or $3,000 loan, all come to loan committee to get approved. We have 7 board members in the committee every Monday. So we have 4 meetings in 1 month. And all the loan officers need to join the meeting, and all the credit analysis need to join the meeting so they can learn about what? Credit decision. So right now, in California, we have 3 branches. Las Vegas, 4 branches. Dallas, 7 locations. Houston, 5 locations. And 1 LPO in Los Angeles. 20 branches and 1 LPO. That's what we have today. So, I want to thank you again tonight. Thank you very much. Again, the Texas, the Bank Association, thank you very much again. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give another round of applause for James Bain, for the late Harlan Heitkamp, Carmen Jordan, Fidel Ramirez, and Mr. Henry Wu. So at this time, I would like to ask our Dean Self to come up, and we're going to award the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame scholarships that made possible by all of you that are in the room tonight.
Good evening. Thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us on this amazing night to celebrate the induction of 5 amazing individuals, banking royalty really, to the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame. I also want to thank Jill and Pam and Jacqueline for organizing this event, and especially thank Jill for her leadership. And now I'd like to invite Now it's my distinct honor to hand out the Texas Bankers Hall of Fame EMBA Scholarship. So I invite Kyle Fernandez and Zachary Thomas to the stage.
Congratulations to these deserving students, and again, thank you for our sponsors and guests, because again, the proceeds from this make these scholarships possible. Our Smith-Hudson scholarships, if you will start finding your way here, our students. So this is really cool. So the Smith-Hudson Undergraduate Scholarship Program was started by the same founders that formed our banking program at the same time in 1996. So including the May 2024 graduates, I want you to listen to this number. The Smith-Hudson Scholarship Program will have graduated over 1,052 undergraduate students across 5 campuses: Sam Houston, Stephen F. Austin, Lamar Institute of Technology, and Angelina College. Do the math on that. So 1,052 students in their history, full ride scholarships. With the addition of 141 new undergraduate students, actually the Smith-Hudson will have over 438 undergraduate students this next year enrolled, and 226 will be at Sam Houston State University. Incredible. Another awesome fact is the program boasts a completion rate right at 80%. So anybody in the academia world knows completion rate, that's probably about double, provost can check me on that, about double what the average rate of completion is. And so that's really, really a strong program. So an effort to continue, and remember I said it with our banking program, the Smith-Hudson banking program, we have 2 missions, and that is to support and continue the education of students once they get in their careers and for self-development. And so we're excited this year to introduce our inaugural scholarships for our MBA program, which is a 2-year cohort. So we have 6 deserving applicants. So students, as I call your name, please come forward to the stage. We first have Shara Davis with Amegy Bank. We'll just stand right here. Alexis Grisham with Keystone Bank. Ben Lee. Jamie McBee, First Financial Bank. Jared Moore, Woodforest National Bank. Justin Relaford, Citizens State Bank. So these are our new EMBA, first year ever Smith-Hudson scholars for our EMBA program. By the way, all of those students are actually first-year cohorts, and their scholarships are up to $40,000 a scholarship, depending on their tuition reimbursement from their employers. And then our second year, Mr. Ben is in his second year. So we're really, really excited for these students. Yes. So everyone, thank you so much. As we close tonight, I want to again congratulate all our honorees and thank our sponsors for making this event possible. And a very, very special thank you to our banking industry friends who lean in every day and work with us to help shape the future of our industry by giving our students opportunity and leading by example. As we conclude, I would ask the honorees and the presenters and their families to remain here in front and so we can get additional pictures. And very, very important, I want to remind all those attending the seminar tomorrow that we will start promptly at 7:30 a.m. at Elkins Lake. So enjoy the rest of your evening. And again, thank you for being here. Thank you to our honorees and safe travels.